Hi, James. How are you today?
Hey, Mark, how are you? Good.
I'm doing well. Is there anything you could share with us about Cam Sullivan-Brown and why he didn't play and if he'll play this week? And what could you tell us about him as a receiver? We haven't seen an awful lot of him.
Yeah, so what I can tell you is that it wasn't COVID related, but he did have an issue that put him in a situation where he wasn't able to obviously not only start but not play last week. So we'll see where he's at this week. But he's a guy who's worked really hard. Obviously, he's put his time in. He has had been a guy that in his past he's kind of had a history of injuries that have set him back. And as you know, we don't talk about those a whole lot. But he really has had a great offseason. There was kind of a buzz going on about him. When you talk to the guys in the summer, he had really had a strong summer. So, earned that starting position and was excited about what he was going to do. And then during the week, we had an issue and he wasn't able to go. So, you're talking about a veteran. You're talking about a guy who's been around. Obviously the adversity he's been through and the time he's been here. You got a mature guy, been in a bunch of different settings before, and it earned the opportunity to get on the field. So looking forward to seeing what he's able to do.
Audrey Snyder.
Good evening, James. Wanted to ask you about Keaton Ellis. Where is he at with his development? I mean, we've asked you so much about Joey Porter, but how does Keaton still kind of factor in back there?
Yeah, he's doing really well. We're big fans of Keaton. Obviously, as a true freshman, did some really nice things, and we still feel that way. Joey just had for whatever reason, the light really just kind of came on for him and had a really, really good summer and camp and did the same thing on Saturday. We thought he played well on Saturday. So I think that's a really competitive room. We feel the same way about Marquise. We really got a good group there, and they continue to develop and compete.
Ben Jones?
James, how's it going?
Hey, Ben.
Losing and having an emotional game this weekend, however that goes, and then having the election early next week, I realize that you're focused on the weekend right now, but just as a whole, from the management of emotions and everything, I mean, how do you kind of navigate what is inevitably, no matter how everything goes, is going to be 7 days of a lot of different things?
Yeah, to be honest with you, that's been a little bit 2020 for everybody, right? It's been a lot of things to manage other than school and football. There've been a lot of other things going on, in our country. There've been a lot of other things going on in our communities. You got health issues, and that obviously we're not even talking about personal issues that people are dealing with. So there's just been a lot of things going on, a lot of hot topics, a lot of things in our country, a lot of things that could be distractions. We talked about that all preseason, that the most disciplined teams and the teams that were going to be willing to sacrifice were going to have an advantage over the teams that didn't. But for every program in the country, there's been a lot of things to manage. You got opt-outs, you got COVID. Again, you got some of the things going on, in our country from a protest, from social issues, a lot of things. So I think your point is a good one. You got the election coming up. It's just a lot of things. And what I hope that football is a little bit of a safe haven for our guys, that they're able to kind of step away from all those things and step on the field and focus. But it's just been very different. I think one of the biggest challenges for me is my leadership style is very, in your face, is very relational. I'm a hugger. I'm a high fiver. I'm that type of guy. And a big part of that we haven't been able to do. We usually take the guys to champs or bowling alleys and have fun with them. It's very different. It's been a very different style and very different approach to how we do things. And I think the other thing is we're not perfect, but we're taking all these COVID precautions very serious. here, and it's just been very different. Rasheed Walker comes up to me every single practice asking to take the mask off because his visor is just fogged up the entire practice. And it drives him crazy. And he has a different reason every day on why we should take him off. So, just as you know, Ben, just a bunch of different things, going on there. Those are a few examples. She said Tyler Donahue. I can hear her back there talking. Not on the mic.
I got you. Thanks, James, for the heads up there. Hope you're doing well tonight.
You too.
Lance Dixon's gonna, I would presume, make his starting debut or play extensively at the very least in a very bright light situation. What did you see from him in week one? And going back to bringing him on campus last year, what gives you confidence that Lance Dixon is ready for this moment?
Well, he's obviously a very talented guy, and I'm really proud of Lance. He's grown in so many different ways, and I think a lot of the specific technical fundamental things of playing linebacker and all the different looks that you have to defend with the offenses that we see and what we're asking him to do on defense. I think he just continues to grow and build confidence and transitions from a really athletic high school player to a big time college linebacker, and I see him getting better every single day. A lot of those young guys that we've recruited are in similar phases, and I think that's the hard part. I think everybody wants it to happen like yesterday, and there's an evolution, and there's not a whole lot of patience left, in our society. But I think these guys, Lance is a really good example of that. These young players that I think are going to be really, really good players, and we need it to happen yesterday. But I'm really pleased with his maturation and how he's evolved.
Nick Fiera.
Yeah, hi, James. Thank you for doing this. My question is about Jalendawson, and I spoke to him earlier today about leadership, and he was saying he's not really the vocal type. But what do you expect from him being with a receiver of his experience, and how can he rub off on the younger guys? And what are your expectations of him just in general this year?
Yeah, we need him to be, kind of our guy. You look every year we've had, a guy, whether it's KJ or whether it's Godson, or whoever, Godwin, whoever it is. We seem to, always have one of those guys that is kind of the focal point in the passing game, and most people do. And Jahan is that guy for us right now, and we need those other guys to continue to develop and step up, but Jahan and Pat need to be those guys for us. You're right. In terms of being a vocal leader, I think Jahan's said about 23 words since he's been here, but he usually has a smile on his face and just a good way about him. And he's another guy that's grown, in so many ways. Academically. Socially, as a football player in the weight room, I'm really, really proud of him. I got a very close relationship with his family. I know they're super proud of him as well. I think I was giving him a hard time the other day about the recruiting process because he was a challenging recruit. I don't know if you guys remember, he was committed to UCLA, and we talked about that a little bit. I was giving him a hard time at practice about that the other day, but I'm super proud of Jahan. Obviously a local kid who's really come here and just really grown and matured in so many areas, and I think he's got a really, really bright future in the rest of his Penn State career and afterwards as well.
Arthur Padre.
Hey, Coach. Thanks a lot for the time this evening. Appreciate it.
Hey, you too, Parth.
Jason Oweh is a guy, third year in the program, kind of came in with these sky-high expectations, almost unfair, in a way. It seems like he finally has that opportunity to, capture some of those goals this year. How has he kind of handled that roller coaster of, having, such lofty expectations placed on him when he first got to Penn State?
Yeah, I guess I kind of look at it different, Parth. I think he's like a lot of the guys that we've recruited that are highly recruited guys, and I think that happens in a lot of programs where you come in and you got to learn. He was a great athlete and had only played football for a couple of years, so there's still a lot to learn. And he came in and got better and improved his fundamentals and technique and his football IQ. And last year obviously showed some flashes, and now this year is really starting to put it all together. So I think his process is a lot like a lot of guys. They come in and although they're great athletes, there's still a lot to learn, especially when you're talking about D lineman and O lineman, where it's such a physical game up front. His high school program did a tremendous job getting him prepared and ready, but obviously there's a big difference, between what he faced in high school and in the Big Ten. But he's done a great job. He's practicing so much different right now this year than at any point before. The battles between our offensive tackles and DNs has been really fun to watch. And I think him and Shock are feeding really, off of each other. And I also think they're setting a really good example, for the Adisa Isaacs and the Nick Tarburtons and Smith Bilberts of the world. That those next group of guys. And then obviously a guy like Shane Simmons, who we're fortunate to have as a veteran guy in the program as well. So, I'm really happy for him and proud of him. I think he's going to have a big game on Saturday, and we need him to.
It's time for a couple more questions. We'll start with Thomas Frank Carr.
Hey, James, how you doing tonight?
Thomas Frank Carr. Got the full name in there. I love it.
Yeah, we're going official tonight.
I like that.
We've talked a lot about your running backs, obviously, the last couple of days from last weekend. But obviously, everything starts up front. How do you feel that your offensive line in the first game, and what are some of the challenges facing the Ohio State front coming up on Saturday?
Yeah, I thought overall we protected pretty good. I think at times we were good in the run game, but there was times where I thought we could have been a little bit more detailed and got a little bit more push. And obviously, we're going to be facing a really talented front on Saturday that we're very familiar with. So I expect us to take the next step. We're going to need to. And I know Coach Troutwine and all those guys are really working hard. And, we need to take advantage of this opportunity. We got a tremendous opportunity on Saturday. And I think to your point, Thomas, it starts up front with our O-line and our D-line. And I think as we know, these games against Ohio State, although there's tremendous skill all over the field, a lot of these games have been dictated by the fronts.
We'll now go to Elton Hayes.
Good evening, James. Hope you're doing well.
You too, Elton.
Hey, earlier today, Coach, we had a chance to speak with Chris Stoll. He told us about receiving his scholarship and just his experiences with the program. I wanted to speak with you and just find out what it's been like to coach him and what does his work ethic and, dedication, what example does that set for his teammates?
Yeah, he's been a great story here. We've had a bunch of good examples of guys like Chris that have come in and worked really hard and not only earned a role on the team but also earned a scholarship. He's changed his body dramatically. And I don't know if he told you how big he was in high school. I think he played offensive line as well in high school. Came to camp, did some good things in our evaluation camps, and then just kind of kept chipping away at it in the weight room. Academically, he's done really well socially. And then, he was really doing a nice job. But when Coach Lord got here, I think Coach Lord kind of set up a very specific plan for him and what we wanted from him. And he really embraced it. I thought last year he did a really nice job. And, we were hoping to be able to give him a scholarship. If the scholarship became available, as soon as it did, he earned it. He really did. So, I'm proud of him. I think those stories for college football and for individual teams like Penn State, I think it's important. Obviously not every kid that joins the program as a run-on is going to earn a scholarship. But I think it's really healthy for your program when it does happen. And he's earned it. It's not like, sometimes you have scholarships available and you may give one away at the end. But he's earned it. He's a starter. He's a contributor and has done a fantastic job for us. So I'm really proud of him.